Sebastian falls head over heels for every girl that gives him the slightest little bit of attention. And in class he can barely focus because his eyes just seem to continue to glance at the girl. Because maybe someday she'll talk to me. Maybe someday she'll notice me. Sebastian, wouldn't you rather have that sweet, kind, feminine, authentic love from a girl who actually really wants you? Wouldn't you want a feminine woman? A woman who's so focused on you while you are focused on your work? Will Sebastian develop himself and his masculinity into the kind of man who attracts the feminine girls that show him actual, authentic love? Or will he continue his mindless scroll for entertainment with the ghost of his full potential screaming at him in the face to focus? So I start high school and I go from literally 0 to 100. I get more attention from girls than I ever have had it in my entire life. I finally wasn't the boy who got infatuated by any girl that showed him the slightest little bit of attention. And mind you, in high school I was still deeply insecure my first year and nobody really knew. If you want to speedrun attraction and you just want to get a bunch of girls, then this isn't the video for you. I'll just tell you, convince yourself of overconfidence, work out, eat clean, wear clothes and jewelry, and literally just talk to everybody so that you snowball an effect of social proof and everybody starts to see you differently. That's like I already told you, you can just click off this video if you want to just get a bunch of girls, because this isn't the video for that. This video is a video meant for the guy who has gone through a lot of pain. This video is meant for the broken guy, the guy who love hasn't really gone so great in his life in the past, the guy who wants to become excellent, and the guy who wants to have an excellent relationship with a girl who loves him so very much and loves him for him. A girly girl that trusts him, wants him to be great, loves him, and admittedly is more crazy for him than he is for her. Of course, he still loves her, but he's still focused on his progression more than he is the relationship. That is the healthiest dynamic I could ever imagine in a relationship, regardless of which gender fits each. I can't even speak. Regardless of which gender fits each role. It was only when I stopped trying to please other people and I let go of validation and I started to actually love myself for the guy who I was at the time and be excited for my own life, follow my own progression, that the girl who saw me last year and thought I was just that shallow popular guy and and just didn't want to talk to me, just didn't think I was anything special. It was only when I just let go of all that and I ended up just letting go of the need for validation, and we'll get into that in a later part of this video, that the girl that would see me the last year beforehand, who didn't really talk to me much, she, when I barely knew her, she made me, here I have it right over here, she made me this beautiful little monkey, call him Ape, for my birthday. Mind you, I barely knew her. And man, she was really great. I decided to give her a chance with that because she was just something special, you know? I mean, damn, it took her 11 hours. All this to say, she's wonderful. I'm happy with her. I'm attracted to her. She's attracted to me. And this is the full guide to attract the kind of girl that spends 11 hours trying to make you a monkey when she barely knows you for your birthday. Pretty girls that show you love actually do exist. Just think about that for a second, let that sink in. This guide will actually increase the competition there is for feminine girls. Now, I have nothing to lose because I've already got mine, so I don't have to worry about that. So just know that this is, oh man, this is literally, I started making this guide actually about 10 months ago, and actually when I started making this guide, I actually started applying it and I started doing it, throughout it. There's I started letting go of the validation and the first section I'm gonna tell you and the trauma stuff. And literally within the next month, then that's when we started dating and that's when we were together. So take this stuff seriously and be the guy who takes action and applies everything he learns. Take notes, literally take notes, have a separate document, even have your little notebook, have sticky notes. I literally have a bunch of sticky notes on my wall now of just stuff when I'm learning about things. If you're here for entertainment, get out of here, because this is not the video for you. You can go watch your Fortnite compilation videos, just go do that, because this isn't the video for you. But if you're still watching, of course, this is the video for you. Of course, you're going to take notes and you're going to take this information so entirely seriously, because I don't want to waste my time and I don't want to waste your time. So let's go do this. If you don't have the time right now to dedicate your full attention to this, watch, put it into your watch later. And of course, you can watch this in segments because this will likely be a very long video. Section 1. You're broken. That's okay. Let's put you back together. Section 1.1. How to start and excel from absolutely zero. become the best guy that she could ever ask for. So how did I go from no attention to lots of attention? First of all, if you don't believe me, then I don't know, but I don't know what to tell you. So what I'm going to tell you is something that you might actually already be at the stages of because you're watching this kind of self-improvement video. So just extrapolate this to the point that you are at, because have humility for yourself, know which point you are at. When I tell you from 0 to 100, I mean down in the dumps. I mean not doing any of the good habits. I mean doing everything wrong. So you might be at a slightly higher stage. That's wonderful. Just keep in mind that I have the girl and right now you don't. And that's okay, because you're gonna find a girl that perfectly compliments you. And not like saying, oh, you look so great, but I mean like compliments who you are as a person. So COVID hit. I was at home, I exercised for the first time, and then I went back to school, and I got like, I'd say 15% attention. I thought it was 100% attention at the time, but the thing was I hadn't gone to high school yet. I didn't know how much attention you could actually get. So I had like 15% social validation, and yeah, it felt like 100% at the time though. Later I quit bad habits, which I'll tell you about what they are, and I went to high school. And that's when things actually skyrocketed. To explain what I'm actually just about to say is that this is going to sound like a blunt truth. Remember, tough love. I'm saying this because you need to have humility. You need to love yourself enough to know that you need to change. If no girls want you, think about why. Take responsibility and really think it's my fault. Really think this. It is my fault. If no girls want me, why don't they want me? What's wrong? Like seriously, and sometimes it's weird to ask this because people tell you to not compare yourself to other people and not kind of like whatever. Think, why does that guy get the girl and why do I not? Really think about that. Is it your integrity? Is it your physique, your body? Is it the way you eat? Is it your skin clear? Is it your presence? Is it your outlook on the world? The idea is for you to become the best guy that she could ever like wish for, ask for, ever conceive in her brain. And you want to be the best guy she could get physically, socially, mentally, spiritually, everything. And at least have a couple things going for you. Here's your action step, and I'm going to give you a bunch of action steps. This is like hella actionable guide. And when I give you these action steps, I want you to take them seriously, because or else if you don't take this stuff seriously, again, it's entertainment. Learning is same circumstance, different behavior. If you don't change your behavior, you're not learning anything, and then you're just wasting your time and my time, like I said. Here's the minimal practical advice I can give you to progress 10 times faster than I did. Like I said, you might already be at some of the stages for these types of things. Just again, extrapolate this to the point that you are at. Number 1, quit video games and start watching self-improvement videos instead. Now, when I say this, my deepest gratitude goes to Hamza. I know that sometimes, not even sometimes, just all the time, he goes through a lot of controversy, and sometimes he's just like acts or says whatever, just random crazy stuff. But I will tell you what, this guy has ended up changing my life in many grand ways, and he has led me to the path. Imagine if I was going this way, he said no, the right path. He took me there, and then I was able to learn the stuff for myself, and now I share that stuff with you. And if you're gonna watch any of his videos, just watch his older videos. Those are the ones that I watched, the ones that helped me the most. Number 2, exercise. Now, I will have a free fitness app in the description that I used, and I'll have instructions on how you need to go about this fitness app. You know, don't pay for anything, don't follow the diet advice. I have another diet video. It's called like 2024 testosterone diet, how I eat for high testosterone and focus in 2024, something like that. Just go search that video, have it like on the iCard or something like that. Just eat like that and you will get the physique. And I'll also link my weightlifting routine if you have enough money to go to a gym. I recommend that if you do have the facilities to get a gym membership, you get one, because you do get really strong a lot quicker. Trust me, I'll send like a before and after picture, one of those things on the side, on the page, on the video. What am I, 40 G's? Number 3, practice gratitude. Negativity is kind of unattractive. You want to be with somebody positive, and actually think about it like this. The healthy people, the people who actually don't have that much trauma, actually want to be around people who don't have as much trauma, who aren't so negative all the time. So if you want to have a healthy relationship with a healthy girl, you need to work on yourself, and we'll have ways to do that in this guide. And you want to think more healthy, more positively for yourself. Simply just write down 5 things every day, either first thing in the morning like I do now, or like last thing in the day right before you go to sleep, at night. That's what I used to do. And just write 5 things you're grateful for. That is it. Shift your mind. This is how you shift your mind into a more positive state. It's kind of like when you go to the gym and you do a bicep curl, except it's like a bicep curl for your positivity, if that makes sense. Number 4, either read this book or watch a YouTube video about it. I'll have links, of course, in the description for this kind of thing. This book is, here, I literally have it right here, Oh, you can't even see it. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Now, this is a very, very circulated book around this space of self-improvement. Now, I will tell you, this book actually did change my life. Basic principle of the book: be warm. Now, if you want to fast track your social skills success, just speak to 100 people in a month like I did, and that ended up being a bunch of people. And then I did that my first year of high school. It still pays dividends. I don't talk to as many people as I used to because I'm an introvert and I prefer to have my alone time or just be with my girl. Or yeah, I do like, of course, hanging out with people. It's just prefer my alone time. I remember when I did talk to 100 people in a month, it was kind of draining because it wasn't really me. It wasn't me being authentic, like we'll talk about later. It does give you social proof though. It does give you that snowball effect like I talked to in the beginning of this guide, and it does get you a lot more attraction from people simply because you are more recognizable, more people know about you. And if you be warm, if you create a positive impression, like how to make a good impression, just in the book like I just mentioned, basically easy way, just smile, be very, very warm, be very nice to people, and just give life. If you do that, it will pay dividends for the next years that you go in high school or just wherever you are, wherever you go. This is like a different story, I'll talk about it maybe some other time, but I even did this somehow to get free shoes. like this is crazy. Free shoes, crazy. And the idea is, again, this is an actionable guide. Start today, not tomorrow. I cannot emphasize that. Remember, you can make the change. The person you are now, great, he got you to the place that you are right now, but to get to a place that you've never gone to before, you need to become a person that you have never been before. The person that you have never been before does different actions that you do not do right now, and that is why the person who you want to become has the things that you want and you do not currently right now. This is just what I did, and you are going to forge your own journey throughout time, and that'll make you stand out even more. Essentially, this is something I did a long time ago that helped me just give clarity on what kind of girl I wanted to get and the direction I had for my progression. Simply just think about the girl that you want and then think about the kinds of things that she wants in a guy. So I'll give you this journal prompt. Quickly think about the girl you want, not too hard, just some of the qualities that you'd like to see in her. Of course, have high standards just as she would. And think about what this amazing girl would want in a guy. When she pictures him, she imagines the best of the best, not in just what he does, but also in how he makes her feel. If you were living aligned to your masculine gift, you are already impressing her by simply just being yourself and making the progress that you already are making. This is the spot you want to be in. By the way, this is the spot you want to be in. She wants you to be the best guy that she could date. Be that guy. Make her feel loved and excited, and impress yourself by how much you actually are able to make her feel so great. Impress yourself by also living at your own edge and following your own progression. And of course, if you're like me, you want a girl who wants the best of you and will not settle for anything less than the best of you. Note, I also just made a video about this. Mystery is completely important. Don't tell people the stuff that you are doing. Simply just put in the work and let them figure out for themselves. This is also part of the reason why you shouldn't spend all your time together. Also because polarity / attraction, which we will talk about again, man, there's a lot of things that we're going to talk about. It thrives on mystery. She should be always finding new things about you, new skills, new projects, new ambitions, new successes. Because when she knows everything about you, it means that you aren't living at your edge and growing. And you might go into this stage at different points in your relationship. That's okay. Just remember, when that does happen, there will be signs that we will talk about, and it will be a wake-up call for you to start getting back on your shit. Because if you are not playing to your masculine gift, your gifts to the world will become compromised and your relationship will become depolarized. Again, all things that we are going to talk about later. I recommend, and this also will give me more watch time, so believe I'm just saying this for whatever reason you want to believe. Just note that if you do watch this video twice, you'll get more out of it because there's different concepts I'm talking about here that I talk about later. Okay, now do this and wait. Literally just take action, start progressing, wait. And this is why I said that this is not the kind of guide for quick attraction. Of course, like learning these other things will help you attract the girl much quicker. But the thing is, of course, becoming the best guy that she could ever ask for, that takes time. Of course it does. Of course it does, because anything of value is hard to get, and that is why it has value. So if you're hearing me speak now, you've gotten to the stage where you've actually gotten more attention from other people because they see the little successes you've been getting, maybe even the big successes you've been getting by focusing on yourself. In this stage, maybe you still can't find a good feminine girl, or maybe you're not even letting yourself open up to the possibility of love because of this. Section 1.2. Dissolving your trauma, actually putting you back together. The goal of this section is to teach you how to dissolve your trauma and dissolve future trauma and prevent future trauma so that you are free to feel and free to love. I don't know if you've seen this movie before. It's my girl's favorite movie, so I'm going to use it as an example because I know she watches my videos. I don't know. So imagine Jack in the Titanic. He's poor. He doesn't have everything that he has. He doesn't have a bunch of money like the other guy that Rose is into, like the lady, whatever. And she still wants to be with Jack in the end.
Are you cold? Right now. What, to him? What, to be a whore, to a gutter rat?
I'd rather be his whore than your wife.
Because Jack, despite just being the starving artist, basically going from place to place, he still makes Rose feel something. He still makes her feel loved. He still gives her every single feeling that she can think of. He gives her life. Now, picture if Jack actually was very traumatized and he had bad tendencies that made him irritable, tendencies that made him quiet and reserved and not really open, not very loving. Would she wanted it to have gone with him? No, likely no. When I was in high school, I had a lot of attention, but I had very little authenticity, and lowness, like little areas of authenticity, it shows. And superficiality attracts more superficiality. What you give into the world comes back to you. So if you want an authentic relationship, be authentic yourself. So at this point, I remember in high school last year, I ended up shaving my head and I just stopped talking. And I had so much trauma. I was just like a little bit like resentful of the world for some reason, because I felt like when I shaved my head, then like girls like started to give me as much attention, you know, those kinds of things. Like it was also a hit to my confidence or something like that. But of course, the reason why I did it also is because if you tie your worth to something so small and tiny like your hair, then perhaps that should be eliminated from your life. So that's why I did that. So half a year goes by, it's the summer, and I'm just focusing on my mental health, figuring out my purpose, and getting excited about ideas of entrepreneurship. That summer, I got to 1,000 subscribers. Hopefully the real ones are still here. I don't know. There's been a lot of change since then. So in any case, I'm talking about ideas of entrepreneurship. I'm focusing on my trauma. I'm making my mental health even better. I'm meditating every single day. The way you meditate, by the way, action step is to literally just set a timer on your phone and then focus on your breath. Basically, very introduction. Start with 3 minutes, then go up from there. And then I'm just talking about the stuff I'm passionate about, entrepreneurship, the life I want to see for myself. And like I said, girl crochets me a monkey. You know, she's actually, I have more stuff here actually. She crocheted me a little stress ball because I was going through some stress at one point when we were dating. Check this out. This one's whoo. This one's crazy. In any case, girl crochets me a monkey, girl meditates with me, and now girl is with me. To love another, you must first entirely love yourself. Because if you don't love yourself, you will be always putting up a front, a fake person that isn't the real you. And the person that you will fall in love with, in this case, if you are not presenting your real self, will fall in love with a fictional character. The person you pretend to be actually repels the people that you want, the people who actually want you for you. So just know that being yourself, being authentic to yourself actually brings the people that you also want in your life, the people that would love you for you, and also repels the people that would actually prefer the superficial part of you. Just keep that in mind also. When you can love yourself for the one who you are and embrace the little faults or imperfections that you have, you will not only have inner peace, but also a self-security that naturally dissolves any of the faults or imperfections you've convinced yourself you had. And this is because those faults or imperfections were only created really because of your fear of being in pain. You're in pain of not feeling loved by those around you. And when you've dissolved this trauma, you will be able to let go of yourself and be authentic with the world. And this authenticity will attract the girl, the person that is in authentic search for you. So how exactly does trauma work? Every time you are knocked down in any endeavor, a memory is placed in your head, in your brain, that alters the way you instinctively respond the next time you meet a like challenge. This condition of the mind can help you block or parry the next hit, but oftentimes what happens is that this new condition of the mind that's placed, this protection to keep you safe, it actually ends up making things worse. Common negative instinctive responses include overthinking, withdrawing from the present moment, arrogance, vanity, rudeness, anxiety, irritability, and being so stuck up in your head that you don't even know what to say. You just feel like you have no thoughts in your head. You're overthinking. You can't even speak. You can't think of anything to say. You're not in flow state. Behavioral psychologist Robert B. Cialdini, like writer of the book Influence, calls these trauma responses click-run responses. Now, I call them trauma barriers or walls of trauma because they're responses that limit your authenticity and your capacity to love. So trauma, how do you prevent it and how do you overcome it? When you notice yourself applying a behavior that you would rather dissolve, first breathe fully, pressing out your stomach into the world. And again, that will be a trauma barrier, something that some people are not actually able to do. They like their breath is stuck here. That is like trauma literally being held in your body. Just breathe fully into your stomach, circulate it into your chest, and just open the front of your body. And then simply just be. When you are quiet, be quiet. When you are loud, be loud. There are ups and downs. That is okay. Don't apologize for the one who you are, because the one who you are has always been the same. Remember that truthfully, with these ups and downs, you are stillness within. Don't put a label on it. Remember, this is just a trauma response, and in some ways this actually works. That's the only reason why it's in your head anyways, because in some ways it makes you feel a little bit safe. Begin with shifting your perspective into like a form of loving gratitude for this trauma and all the past sorrows that come along with it, because all the mistakes you made and all the pain that you've been through has actually brought you to this moment, and it will propel you forward because now you're working on it. If you are with someone who's really special to you, just be sincere and let them know that you're not feeling your best and that you kind of have the tendency to do whatever you're doing in the moment. Remember the authenticity part of it. And I don't like to always say authenticity because, again, when you say things that are always said all the time, the meaning gets lost in the wording. In any case, if you really care about somebody, you should let them know that you're going through something, and then you can grow together from that. Usually people who are more broken will not appreciate that, and more of the healthy people will actually appreciate it. I've noticed that. The other option, if you're okay with sacrificing some sincerity, either for the time being or just with another person who's not really like a big person in your life, just breathe fully and don't say anything. Really, that's just it. You don't need to say anything because people only really know what you show them. So if you don't show them anything, you just try to breathe fully, try to just act yourself and just be, you should be good. Regardless, the next time that you go through one of these trauma barriers and you notice yourself limiting your capacity to love, question it. And I've created this trauma dissolution template that you can go through that's going to be in the description. Also remember, this is a very actionable guide. I've actually gone through this many times myself. I'll even have like an example inside of it so that you're able to see the stuff on it. So question your behaviors and your beliefs and all these trauma responses as they come up, and question all of them. And whatever you do, don't hold on to them by identifying them as a part of your identity, because if you identify them as a part of your identity, you prevent yourself from moving on. Link in description. And if you guys have questions on how to move through this template, I like to think it's pretty good, then just send me a comment, or just like comment down below and ask me about how to do it, and I will make a video or just reply to the comment on how to do it and answer any of your questions. While you notice your trauma and you work through it, just keep in mind that the way to prevent trauma is to let go of the validation of other people and to breathe fully and be stillness from the one who is within. Let go so you can be authentic to the world and find that authentic girl who's just in search for you. Truthfully, let go of validation and just be. I know I briefly mentioned that line, just be, but that line changed my life. Seriously, that line changed my life. Just be. If you're happy, let yourself be happy. And you don't need to be sad, you can just be less happy. Don't put a label on it, literally just be. Because the more you chase an emotion, the more you remind yourself that you do not have the emotion. So just be. I found myself being more happy when I ended up doing that too. So that's also good for your mental health, and that's attractive. Now, let's get what you came for. Drum roll, please. Okay, no drum roll. Attracting a feminine woman. Section 2.1, Polarity. Imagine two magnets side by side. Negative and positive, they're attracted to one another, correct? But positives don't tend to go with positives, and negatives don't tend to go with negatives. Opposites attracts and likes repel. Think of the positive and negative poles of a magnet as the masculine and the feminine energy. Femininity is the flow of emotion, energy and motion, change, just as life is change. We call the land Mother Earth because there is summer, winter, autumn, spring, peace, violence, freezing cold, scorching heat, and it's always different. And this change is what makes the world such a wonder to live in. It makes it so fun to just see what's next. You never know what the next day for the weather is gonna be, and you never know if you're gonna be freezing cold waiting in your bus stop, or you don't know if life is gonna slap you in the face or give you some tender loving. And just as nature requires the flow of love to create life, the focus of the feminine is the flow of love and intimacy. That is the most important aspect of the feminine. When a woman does not feel this flow, she will become distant, literally sometimes even begin to look old or fall apart or just become less attractive, and she will test you just to feel it. These are called tests, and there's just different ways that girls will do this. I'll make a video about it some other time. Just know that they test you in these ways to feel your strength, if that makes sense. Feel your strength and your capacity to love. Often a feminine woman will be seen as unpredictable, happy one second, and then profusely crying the next second. Do not confuse this with weakness, because there is nothing weak about the feminine energy. It is entirely powerful. And then there's masculinity. Masculinity is stillness. And in every moment of your life, it is a test to see how you can be perturbed or unperturbed by change. The feminine energy wants to feel your conscious loving. Life is the ultimate feminine energy. Life is the ultimate change. And what is the only thing that doesn't change? Your observation, the one who you are within the observer. And so you'll notice that right now, if I tell you to focus on your breath, to notice the little vibrations, to notice my voice, and to really be here with me, that is the most masculine part of you. If you're a girl, if you're a boy, doesn't matter. And the cool thing about it is that in like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, you're gonna totally forget about this, and your level of consciousness is gonna go down slightly. The cool thing about this is that pure masculine energy, you know, it's the kind of thing where somebody could be screaming in your face and you would just be stoic and completely emotionless while they're doing it. And when you feel that she isn't being as loving as she used to be, relax and let your unwavering love just be there, and it will sort itself out. And just know that if it doesn't, know that you did the best you could, and if it didn't work out, then it just was not meant to be. Our masculine gift is direction, clarity of purpose, stillness, and the unwavering love that comes along with it. It's funny because that's how I think that God acts, eternal consciousness, just like that. So how do you apply this? What are your action steps? Well, number one, think of Jack in the Titanic, of course. Think about how he treated Rose. Think about how he was able to make her feel loved even when he was being arrested in those kinds of things. Even when he was very scared, nervous. He was able to be the more masculine in that sense. Essentially, that means be the light in her world. Use your stillness to magnify love and openness despite your own emotion, just like Jack in the Titanic. Be 100% loving and use that presence to love her unconditionally regardless of her mood. No matter how she acts or what she says to you, transcend past the emotion and take everything with humor. Like it's like just like a little girl having a tantrum. This also means that your direction, your clarity of purpose, you know, your masculine gifts will be the number one priority in the relationship. More priority than she is for you. The masculine energy seeks freedom, while the feminine energy seeks fulfillment. And not to get too vulgar with this, but just also think about the ways that men and women have sex. Freedom and fulfillment. Just think about it like that. Make her feel happy, sad, horny, disgusted, angry, peaceful, excited, anxious, all of it and everything in between. And of course, do it with love. Don't be like some weird manipulative, just crazy guy. Just do it with love, because anything that is approached with love becomes love. Anything that is approached with love becomes positivity. Think demons are only angels that have fallen from God. What is God? God is love. So if angels are demons, if they fall from love, then that's just what it is. So just bring everything that you do into love. Actual care for this person. When you can satisfy all the aspects of her femininity, she will adore you. Stillness can go into many categories, but if I had to use an almost synonym for it, I would just say unperturbed consciousness. Trust in your own direction so that she can trust in the direction that you want to take her in, and approach life with humor. Be fully present, and your progression, again, should be number one priority. Your progression should be number one priority, because remember, part of stillness is authenticity. When I say stillness, again, this is like kind of a side tangent, but when I say stillness, I mean internal stillness. I mean, imagine all these things are happening in your life and you're observing. You're able to take action and do what you know is right despite what is happening. Imagine she gets sad. Well, you treat her with love, she makes you feel bad, you treat her with love anyways, and it is a skill. I tell you, it is a skill. Picture this dynamic. You're progressing in life like it's some kind of video game, and one of the fun things in your life that also counts as progression is your relationship. Your main priority is your progression. Your girl absolutely loves you. She can't stop thinking about you. You are her world because you bring light into her world. You are priority in her world, and much of the progression she does in her life is secondary because she loves you, or she's doing the progression because she loves you. This is the most beautiful dynamic in my opinion. Sometimes it does get off course, but it's always your responsibility to bring it back, your responsibility, the masculine responsibility to bring back the relationship back to this dynamic. It's the only way if you want true polarity, attraction, and wonder to stay in your relationship. Years of programming will prevent you from relaxing into your masculine because there's been a lot. There's been the school system, what your parents have told you about relationships, what you have seen in relationships, and how you see these modern relationships being almost like friendships, these couples in your life that don't even look like they're in couples that treat each other so platonically. It seems normal, but we don't aim to be normal, we strive for excellence. Here is what's holding you back. Man, I just started, my throat already hurts. Section 2.2. Don't be ashamed of your energy, and don't be creepy. Keep your attraction a secret because, you know, the only guy that she'll actually talk to is the guy who tells her how he feels and has obvious attraction between him and her. Don't treat your woman good. Simp, you're a simp. Because of course a healthy girl would want some guy to treat her bad, wouldn't she? Be friends with her, and once you're already close friends and she sees you like a brother, make your move. Don't worry about it, because maybe even though because she sees you as a brother and she rejects you, maybe she'll change her mind along some time in the friendship. And lastly, women are nothing special. I'm focused on myself. I don't care that being with a woman and learning how to love a woman is part of actually developing myself. That's irrelevant. Your attraction to the feminine is inevitable. Stop castrating yourself by rejecting your true desire. Masculine men are attracted to all forms of the feminine energy. Music, women, good food, nature. It's healthy and it's good. And if a man tries to hide or is uncomfortable with his sexual attraction to the feminine, it indicates that he has a degree of shame for his own sexual core. This disownment, this denial of his own core, his own person, who he really is, makes him feel weak and insecure. And when I say sexual attraction, keep in mind that sexual attraction is very different than having sex. Sexual intimacy is a choice between two people who want to give themselves up because they love each other or because they're in the mood or something. Sexual attraction is an involuntary wave of the feminine energy, if you want to talk from the masculine perspective, that rejuvenates the masculine energy wherever it is found. When a feminine woman can embrace her true essence, it's like listening to your favorite song or like a cold breeze. It's just so wondrous and refreshing. Like even seeing like a colorful sunset. Remember that your sexual essence is always attracted to its complementary opposite, and this isn't just for women. It's also for delicious food and for music, which as a side note, and we'll get to later, can either be fiery or cooling, either be very, very loud and upbeat or very soothing. Regardless, what feminine energy does for the masculine is it gets you out of your head and into your body, into the present moment. This attraction to all things feminine is simply magnets, polarity, and if you have shame for seeing a woman in her element, magnifying her radiance, and understanding that her essence and her body attracts your sexual desire, you will be energetically castrating your masculine essence. This shame is an indicator of societal conditioning that could have been born from people telling you that sexual attraction is bad or evil, even though it really is not, and it's an amazing gift, and that is why there's men and women. Instead of being ashamed of your desires, be at home with them and dissolve them into your integrity. And to get really spiritual with you, your desire for women is a part of your desire to become one, to become God, to recognize yourself as God. I like to think of it as like two halves to a whole, and the whole is God. Your confession of desire is a confession to embrace life, and to embrace life is to embrace all opposites, the one who you are, the body you experience, any negative or positive energies that find unity in the giving of your love. Because eventually you will find that every single force in your life, every single energy in your life is just calling for you to give love and to give your attention in love. Don't be afraid to follow this attraction and allow this attraction to be a part of your giving, of your gift, of your loving, and your desire for unity. So how do you implement this? What are your action steps? Don't keep your attraction a secret. Be the guy who has some balls and make it known. Treat her nice. Healthy girls like that. Don't be friends with her. You're not friends. There's a difference between companionship and friendship. Women are a part of improving yourself. Be open to possibilities. And the next time you see a woman that gives you that thrill, just relax into the rush and feel the thrill. Let her feminine energy move through you like a deep massage. Breathe fully and deeply and let go of yourself. Just enjoy it. You don't even have to interact with her or look at her. You can just simply just let yourself enjoy it, if that makes sense. Just let it give you life. Okay, cool, but where's the feminine women I'm picturing, and where are all the feminine women actually in general? Most girls, especially in Western countries, animate more of the masculine part of themselves. This is totally normal and perfectly fine. By nature, if you are more of a masculine woman, of course there is a feminine guy for you. However, many women in the modern day are actually forced to magnify their own masculine, even though that they would rather do something else. Many women don't want to have to work and provide for their family. They wish someone else would do that for them. Many men don't want to have to worry about love. They'd rather focus on their gift to humanity. When you can be authentic with your energy, you will attract your authentic opposite. It's like my mom, she doesn't want to have to be a single mom and provide for us. She literally seriously wishes that another man would do that for us. Be authentic with your energy, seriously, because most people are like super unhappy with their relationships. And it's simply because they're forcing themselves to magnify an energy that they actually do not feel comfortable magnifying in their core. You might be balanced, you might prefer a balanced relationship, or you might be conditioned by society to be balanced between feminine and masculine. Where are all the feminine women? The answer to that question is that there is never a shortage of feminine energy, only a resistance to experiencing it. Either a resistance from yourself or a resistance from her. Relax into your masculine so that she can trust you enough to relax into her feminine. The feminine energy is in search for the masculine, and the masculine energy is not in search for the feminine. Keep that in mind. I say the masculine energy is not in search for the feminine. The feminine energy comes to the masculine energy because the masculine energy is stillness and the feminine energy is change. The masculine energy is not in search for the feminine because the feminine is simply a byproduct of his focus. Note: typically, younger women's feminine gifts are less compromised by the push on balanced masculinity in modern times through taking on more responsibility and tasks. In some cultures, actually, women are more pushed to, they're more promoted to increase and deepen their radiance as they get older. But even in those cultures, it is understood that younger women still offer a special energy, an energy of aliveness and refreshment. So how do you implement this? This one's like a really great implementation. This one is like it'll take you like a solid, good time to actually implement this. So how do you implement this information? What are your action steps? Set long-term goals and have a vision for yourself, because remember, the masculine is the clarity of purpose and direction. So in the description, I have a video that I have this as a part of a course that I would actually sell, and this is achieving goals and gamifying your life, pretty much. This is a part of my resurrections protocol, going from 0 to 100, pretty much. Just kind of like in the earlier section when I described to you how to do this, this is just a part of that course. This is the part that will help you the most. I have it set up for you to watch for free. The action step for after you watch this video is to fill out the goals template, be reasonably unreasonable, and put the most important ones on your wall like I described in the video. And use masking tape so it doesn't break your wall. Under the video, I also have linked the goals template. The other thing that makes feminine women hard to find is that, like I said, the crazy thing is that you're searching for a feminine girl. It's hard to find one because your search repels her nature. Adopt the abundance mindset. I'm only into girls that are into me, and I don't chase girls. Girls chase me. And again, I've said this before, it sounds kind of cool, kind of weird, kind of crazy, but also think of the alternative. I chase girls and girls run away from me. Yikes. No. As another note, outside of countries like America and Canada, it might actually be easier to find a feminine woman, just because, again, Western countries kind of push this more masculine thing, and other countries kind of understand this more traditional masculine and feminine energy sense. My girl just moved here like 3 years ago, and I will tell you what, many women will thrive on you being masculine enough to let them relax into their feminine. That's a really nice gift that you can give to them. Remember, it was only when I stopped trying to become a new person and I relaxed to being stillness, literally just meditating and trying to enhance my stillness, that she came to me and relaxed into her feminine. Magnets can become depolarized, and this is a state where they are no longer attracted to each other. As the masculine, you need to make sure you two are never getting depolarized. Section 2.2. Depolarization. Imagine this. A young man, he's doing great. He makes his girl feel so wonderful. He makes his girl laugh, cry out of happiness, and feel so in love with him. And then a year goes by. He's gotten complacent. He's let the spark wear off a little bit. He's starting to not care as much, and he isn't as focused on his goals as he used to be. He's also started to be lacking on making his girl feel loved. And because of this, his girl begins to look less attractive to him because she's actually losing some of that feminine radiance, because the feminine radiance feeds off of the flow of emotion, of the flow of love. And she starts to have greater mood swings, and he doesn't know what to do, because at this point, she's starting to get mad at him, starting to get sad at anything he says, starting to overthink, and he doesn't know what to do. Everything he seems to do is wrong. Being in the company of a woman who breathes, smiles, and shines feminine energy like a goddess will fill you with energy. If you are disconnected from your purpose, you will be disconnected from sensing this depth. With this disconnection, you dishonor depth and radiance, and you will only be attracted to things like looks and superficiality, as opposed to the true inner beauty within. You will want novelty like a new woman or a new feminine experience. This is the kind of guy that doesn't stick with a business long enough for actually him to see results in the business. It's like shiny object syndrome. She will feel you turning away, and then it will just get worse and worse. And you know what? I will tell you, it is your fault. It is entirely your fault, because what do you get about saying that it isn't your fault? Your fault, your responsibility, your fault, your power. Depolarization can happen at any stage of the relationship, even during the attraction stage when you guys aren't even together yet. And this is why you guys cannot be friends. Often a relationship will end in separation or divorce, like my parents did, because of depolarization. So let's kind of re-summarize the points that we just made about here. So all magnets have north and south poles. They're kind of like the masculine and the feminine energy, and opposite poles attract to one another, as the feminine and the masculine energies are attracted to one another. And just like magnets, electricity, and reactivity, even on the periodic table of elements, the masculine and the feminine energies are attracted to each other to create balance in reality. Think in the periodic table, the reason why something is reactive is because it has extra electrons that it wants to lose to become more balanced. It is so reactive because it is not balanced. And when it can balance with another atom, the molecule, it becomes balanced, and that is the only reason why it's reactive in the first place. This attraction manifests itself in sexual polarity. Depolarization is friendship, and there can of course be love in friendship. However, this is not romance. Often relationships collapse because the pair spends all of their time together, and because the masculine and feminine energy is so different, one of the energies has to balance out for the other. And this isn't fair for either of the energies, and everybody in the situation ends up feeling like they want to puke. If you truly are masculine, your lover will begin to magnify her own masculine, and the radiant woman you were once entranced with will possibly even become ugly to you. If the opposite is true, and your masculine isn't as strong, then you will become more feminine, and she will start to be disgusted by you. Actually, both might end up happening, where she becomes more masculine, you become more feminine, and then it's kind of just because it's not your authentic energy in real life, and like your core, you both feel like puking, just like that. The average relationship in contemporary society is depolarized. By the time I'm recording this video, most relationships are actually depolarized, and it's really sad because the spark, the thing that makes relationships great, the thing that I think makes my relationship great with my girl, is that spark, that dynamic between the masculine and the feminine energy. If you ask the average person if they're happy with their love lives, they will say no. And to create this spiritual connection and complementary sexual loving, and even prevent it from fizzling out, you cannot become friends, dude. The goal of a romantic relationship is not to become best friends and spend all of your time together. It's to complement the other person's energy and magnify the love that you have for each other through the gifts God gave you to create life and give your ones whole to one another. Of course, I want to quickly address that a man or woman with a more naturally balanced core will actually enjoy these type of friendship relationships simply because that's what fits their authentic energy the most. Now, you might be at different sides of the spectrum, different levels of masculinity, femininity, and of course, each time, just like the yin and yang, there's a black dot, white dot in each of them. You do have a masculine and a feminine energy within you. You might just have them a lot like different, if that makes sense. Like the feminine energy in me wants to make these videos because it wants to give, it wants to show love to humanity, and the masculine part of me wants to just progress so much more and like progress and like just like go like hard in the gym, post a bunch, and make sure it's really, really good, and you know, just those kinds of things. The feminine energy in my girl will want to progress because she loves me, and the masculine energy in there will progress because she thinks it's fun too. If you're disconnected from your masculine energy, of course this is the video from a masculine perspective, then focus on progression. These ups and downs, they're normal and they're okay to go through. Just remember that during the attraction phase, you need to be the one to tell her how you feel, even if she approaches you. Like my girl, she approached me, she would hang out with me while I meditated, and I remember I ended up telling her, and more on that later. So with this information, who do you choose? Section 3, who to choose. Section 3.1. Choose a woman who is your complementary opposite. Sebastian meets a woman who seems amazing at first. Things have been great for weeks, and then he finds out she has some weird emotional tendencies that he would rather not have to deal with. She's incredibly sexy, but she's also a little bit crazy, saying one thing and then later changing her mind about it suddenly, and Sebastian does not know what to do. Sebastian finds that he also finds more reasonable women who he has really great conversations with, and that don't frustrate him. These women, they're cool, But he realizes that these women also don't arouse the same sexual passion and excitement that the other crazy woman does. If a man is masculine by nature, he will be attracted by a feminine woman. The more neutral or balanced a man is, the more he will prefer a balanced woman. And if a man has a feminine core, his energy will be most complemented effectively by the purposefulness and directive nature of his masculine woman. By understanding your own needs, whichever one sounded the best, you can learn to accept the whole package of a woman. For example, a masculine man who is enlivened by the feminine will accept that his woman can be relatively chaotic, wild, relatively undisciplined, crazy, indecisive, and maybe prone to changing her mind and even perhaps lying. And I say lying in quotations because she said what she felt in the moment, but her feelings changed in a different moment. So technically she's telling the truth. It was just so different feelings at the time. She was telling her truth at the time. Basically, that's how that works. Still, from an energetic perspective, this woman would be so much more healing and inspiring to this masculine man than a more neutral woman's reasonableness or trustworthiness. Again, in quotations. Or even her ability to say what she means in a way that he will understand. And like I said with the yin and yang, she might be undisciplined, she might be a little bit crazy, she might go through some of these things. Your gift to her, your masculine gift to her, is to help her navigate this. And also sometimes she might be able to magnify a little part of her masculine to kind of control herself in this way too. But in that case, at least for me, I'd rather my girl be like happy, sad, like angry, just like be all the emotions together, and me be able to turn it into love, if that makes sense. Because I find that that's when she's the most free, and that's the most attractive thing for me too, and I know that being free is great, so that's great. All this to say, you will be most attracted by your complementary opposite. You may enjoy time with someone who isn't your complementary opposite, but this time isn't filled with like sexual polarity or passion. These are friends, pretty much. They're friends. More neutral couples will fight less, talk about anything with each other, and actually love talking about everything with each other. These relationships are still very beautiful and filled with love, but it would be less likely to see them like slap the other person's ass or like the same passion, humor, or sexual loving within them. You can get good at switching between the two, I believe, though, and it's just kind of like a weird thing. You may accidentally depolarize your relationship into a more balanced one that seems neutral, but truthfully isn't. Very little couples actually truthfully have balanced energies, and even a smaller amount are truly with like feminine men and masculine women. The wrong approach that most men take is to numb themselves and ignore or minimize the appreciation they have for the full range of the feminine woman's gifts that they have in their life. Think about it like this: it's a whole package. The more a woman is feminine, the less she will be stillness. And it's exactly those qualities that make the woman less like a man that excite you. Embrace them. The divine, perplexing, entrancing, mesmerizing, and enlightening quality of the feminine is the freedom to just their freedom from masculinity, the masculine need to live in a world governed by reason and control. Feminine women will be able to see the flows of natural aliveness, the aesthetics of the world that you will be unable to feel, or that it will take you a lot more to be able to feel. They will float free in the energies and currents that most men are oblivious to, and they are free to allow their bodies relax with the flow of their hearts. And the special thing about this is that if she has no direction, no clarity of purpose, no idea what to do with her life, you can give that to her. You can be the light in her world in that way too. This is what you get from a feminine woman, directly quoted from The Way of the Superior Man, one of my favorite books that has guided me through many places in my life. A woman who is all over the place emotionally, a woman whom you can depend on to change her mind, a woman who is much more sensitive than you are to the flow of subtle energies in your relationship, a woman who brings you delight and awe in the ecstasy, both sexual and spiritual, that her body expresses so freely and beautifully. How do you implement that? The right approach is to realize that all of these turbulent qualities of your girl come from the same part that actually turn you on. And you can even learn to be turned on by the qualities that are like a little bit more chaotic. These qualities that most other men would reject. You're the guy who's standing free. You're the guy who can handle the energy. You're the guy who is standing tall in front of the tidal waves, the tsunami hitting, whatever. Meeting her storms with your masculine humor and conscious loving. You won't leave her. You won't ignore her. You will embrace her. And it's a skill, man. I told you before, it is a skill. And it will take time to develop the strength. But in doing so, you will provide your woman and the world a man who is unperturbed by fear of the feminine power and chaos. You will only be happy in your relationship if you can embrace the both, I guess, negative and positive sides of her feminine energy. What's next in who to choose? Well, there are different kinds of feminine energy, and which one is right for you? Section 3.2. Each woman has a temperature that can heal or irritate you. I'm a Latino young man. I live with 2 women who are also Latinas, and sometimes there's a Latina fire that is loud, quick, and for me, for me, it's actually really annoying. And like, it's the kind of thing where sometimes I have to take a step back and I have to actually, and again, because like I said, it's a skill, I have to practice stillness, because sometimes I actually get really irritated, and it's kind of like the type of thing where, you know, you work on yourself and it doesn't actually bother you very much because, you know, you transcend it. But it's also the kind of thing where it's like, it's a paper cut. You know, the one little aspect of my feminine that's able to get perturbed by this type of thing is the part of me that also gets a little bit irritated too. And it's not very good for your masculine if you are not getting the right flavor of feminine energy, if I have to put it in a weird way. Some women's feminine energy is hotter and others are cooler. At different moments in a man's life, depending on his different circumstances, he will prefer different flavors of the feminine energy. Different men like different temperatures, just like one man might love eating hot peppers and eating the spiciest food he can, and other men might prefer the cooling sensation of like milk or fruits or refreshing salads. If in your life you feel like you're under a lot of pressure and you find yourself stressed most of the day, the feminine energy you will likely crave will be that of a cooler woman. After a long, hard day, she will make you feel refreshed like a glass of cold water. It's funny that I say she made me a stress ball over there, right? Because this girl, man, she really is so refreshing, like a glass of cold water. And if your life lacks a sense of passion, either because you've accomplished all of your goals or because, you know, you're not working as hard as you should be, then you will find yourself, if your life lacks a sense of passion and you feel like you're almost stuck, like maybe you've accomplished all of your goals, or you are actually just stuck, like you feel like you should be doing more but you're not doing more, then you would actually prefer more of a fiery type woman. Because a fiery type woman, like the movement, the loudness, will help you kind of get out of that apparent abyss of monotony. It might just be exactly what you need to spice up your life. Literally spice up your life like a hot pepper. While the temperature you find heals you the most will actually change throughout the different stages in your life, it's important to always remember that you are stillness within. You may be with a fiery woman whose energy may irritate you after a long day of hard work because you simply just want to relax, or you may be with a cooler woman whose calmness may cause you to wish for a more active life. Knowing that your taste may change is important because it shouldn't it shouldn't change how you act towards your woman. You should still always show her love. And you shouldn't use one of these shifts as like an excuse to treat her worse or to not show her as much love. Especially because months later you might even shift back to preferring her energy specifically. In fact, you don't even need to be with another girl, as in like be with another girl romantically to experience her feminine energy. Different people in your family, they might have an energy that might irritate you, but you are with a girl that does not irritate you, if that makes sense. That's kind of like my own situation, if I have to be so open with you, crazy fella. It's important to make your current flavor, I guess, known to your woman if you really do love her. How do you implement that? Well, you can influence which desire you may have throughout your life. As I said before, if you already have a fiery, fast-moving, action-packed, or even stressful life, a hotter woman would probably irritate you, and a cooler woman would enliven you, it'd heal you almost. A hotter woman would become, and I say hotter as in like temperature-wise, will become more life-giving when your life starts to become more calm also. It's kind of like, again, that polarity. So what's next? Kind of like pushing that stuff aside. What if the girl you choose does not like you? Section 3.3, very important. Choose a woman who chooses you. So my girl, she knew this guy back in her first year of high school. I didn't know this guy at the time, and at this time this guy had a girlfriend, right? He had this girl, and apparently his girlfriend always talked about me, and I didn't even know this guy, right? And his girlfriend ended up leaving him, and that's very sad, and that's very sad, like fully very, 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 very sad. But this guy, he had like a vendetta against me or something like that. I didn't even know the guy, and he disliked me, if that makes sense. And then eventually he developed a little crush on my girl, and then the next year when he saw us hanging around, you know, like hanging around more and like having chemistry or something like that, he would lie about me. It was crazy. He would say that I sold drugs in school. He'd say I was only hanging around her for her body, and he even like faked a phone call. He said that I said that to him on the phone or something. I thought that was really funny. He told my girl even, and this was kind of sad to me. This was horrible. This is what a horrible thing to say. But he told my girl that she had no chance with me and that I wasn't interested in dating. Mind you, Last year I had not been because I had my own trauma, so even though I was getting attention from a lot of people, I kind of didn't let myself date, if that makes sense. There was more stuff I just can't remember, honestly. And the funny thing is, she ended up with me anyways. All of that was kind of, it just I don't know what it was for, really. It was kind of sad too. If a man wants a woman that does not want him, he cannot win. His neediness will undermine any possibility for a relationship, and his woman will never actually be able to fully trust him. Remember that the purpose of the masculine is purpose, direction, and clarity in life, and that the priority of the feminine is the flow of love and intimacy. If she is truly feminine, the moment that she senses that you need her more than she needs you, she will become repulsed by you. Literally, and this goes on forever, even while you're still in the relationship. Like I said, you will have ups and downs, different points where your feminine energy is higher, different points where your masculine energy, you have let it dampen or something like that. There will be different points in your relationship where you might become more needy, and that is a sign that you need to get back on your shit. You need to get back on your purpose, because she won't be as loving as she used to be. Her feminine neediness will begin to magnify her aspects of her own masculinity, and you will push her away. She will want space, she will want freedom, she will be drained by your neediness. And in fact, if she really is feminine, she will seek masculine guidance just to get away from you. Probably to the guy she's actually into. Yikes. So have abundance. Choose a girl who chooses you, and if you did get together and she didn't want you, like, dude, that would be just so sad and boring. Why would you want to be with a girl who doesn't want to be with you anyways? That's just like, that actually just sounds so sad and boring. Have the abundance mindset. What's your action step? You have to determine if she's playing hard to get or if she actually doesn't want you. Now, this can be a very, very difficult thing to do, and a lot of guys get misguided from this, because there's a point where, oh my god, this guy keeps going after me even though I don't like him. And then there's a point where it's like, oh, why did he stop going after me? Maybe he doesn't like me. The thing is, if you determine that she's into you, go for it. Focus and have fun, and just be conscious and be of integrity. That's it. That's easy. Tell her how you feel. It's just like that. Tell her how you feel. You need to be the one who has the consciousness, the courage to do that. And because it takes courage and masculine stillness to be able to overcome your own emotion and say that. Now, if she doesn't want you, you need to immediately stop pursuing her and deal with your pain by yourself. Ironically, if you determine wrong and she actually was into you, the moment that she feels you turning away and you beginning to let go of her, she will actually start to pursue you. I just think that kind of aspect is also interesting. And again, remember, if the latter is the situation, be careful. Really be careful. Tread carefully, because ask yourself, is this really the kind of person, the kind of girl that you want to be with? The girl who only wants you when you don't want her anymore? That sounds really bad to me, honestly, because then it's just a terrible cycle. Terrible cycle. When I told my girl I was into her, I remember I had actually, I don't know if it was the same day, but I remember I had just picked her up and like spun her around in a circle and then I set her down and oh yeah, by the way, on a side tangent, when I say like make her feel like she's like you know, when I say Jack in Titanic, literally dance with her, spin her up in the air, like laugh with her, sling her on your shoulder and like run around. It gets really fun when you kind of experience each other in that way. But anyways, I'm getting off track. Where was I? Oh yeah, when I told my girl that I was into her, she actually didn't say anything first. She didn't say anything like the whole rest of the day and the rest of the next morning. It was funny because she just giggled and then she didn't really say much, and it was just really funny to me because like I just remember thinking whatever. I was on the bus and I think I was talking to her brother, I was talking to other people, and it was funny because I got in a flow state and I was able to like just keep talking and it didn't really matter, and I just like felt like so free because it didn't matter if she wasn't into me, whatever. I would just be like free. I just go back to what I was doing before, because the cool thing is I don't need her. Like, I don't need her. I love her very much right now, but it's so freeing to know that I don't need her. And I think that we make each other's lives so much more wonderful, and I love to be with her. And it's just so freeing to know that my purpose is my priority, my gift to the world, making these YouTube videos and like focusing on my body, making my bicep freaking bigger, getting like doing Muay Thai and like getting like shit messed up on my arm. It just is fun. Holy crap, the lighting is kind of funny. Yeah, like it's like square. But again, that's the abundance mindset being applied. So don't worry about it, because the next day, like I didn't really say anything the next day. I just kind of kept just acting how I was and just keep doing whatever I was doing. And it was so great because then the next day, like she came to me at lunch again or something, and then I said, well, anyways, do you want to be my girl? And then she was like, it was a nice experience. It was a good experience. I'm always gonna remember that. I actually have a picture of her, like a Polaroid over there. And it's nice because bro's like this in the Polaroid, and she's just there. So what a wonderful woman. Alright, what's next? Know what is important in your woman. You must have a priority in the relationship. Business partner, friend, mother, or lover. You can still have some of them as aspects in your relationship. However, when there is no priority, there is ambiguity, and your feminine woman will look for masculine energy while you look for feminine. You are the only one that can decide what is important in your relationship. You truthfully are the only one because you are the masculine energy. Make the right choice. I would say the priority should be the progression of both of you guys into something more spiritual, more divine, that type of thing. The progression for both of you guys to become more healthy, to become more just more healthy for vitality and like hormonal optimization. Again, this is different priorities for different people because I am a different person than you. Next, this is kind of another no, I don't even remember 2 point whatever, 3 point something. You will often want more than one woman, and this is actually still healthy. This is like a normal thing, normal part of the masculine energy. Any man with a true masculine essence will often find himself desiring more than one woman. This is normal, even when he is already in a committed and loving relationship with another feminine woman, in which his love life is incredible. He will have this desire because all masculine men are attracted to all forms of feminine energy, especially the feminine in other women. Whether a man decides to act on these tendencies or these desires is entirely up to him. I think if a girl loves you enough, she ends up trying to become the best that she could be for you. Of course, you try to be the best that you can be for her, and it's just like a nice dynamic. So I think one is very special. But again, if you decide the other way, think about it like this. If you can barely handle one woman and you can't make her feel loved while you're still in the other relationship, it's probably not a good idea to try to handle two. And if you choose to devote yourself to one, also ask yourself why. Why are you doing this? Is it to please your woman? Is it because you value the intimacy of your relationship and you believe that doing that with multiple partners might get messy? Is it because of societal influence? Or do you really just appreciate at your core having one partner, only one partner who you can share the giving of each other's gifts with? Know your reasons and make your decision. It's totally up to you. However, I always just say this, never suppress your desires and never try to lock them away. You can discipline yourself into being with just one more woman, just like you can discipline yourself to being in the gym, or even just for your own morals or decided integrity, but never suppress your desires, because remember what I said, never apologize for your masculine energy. Be at home with your desires and appreciate the energy that they offer you. Alright, let's say I attract a girl. What's next? Because all I've learned is how to attract a girl, but I haven't learned actually to do once I'm with her. Sebastian attracts the girl. Things are going so wonderfully. She's so rejuvenating. She's so wonderful. She's so great. And then suddenly, like nothing, like light and night and day. He texts her more. No, he texts her less. He doesn't know what to do. He's becoming needy. She's getting disgusted. She's focusing on herself now. She's less radiant and less attractive to Sebastian. And Sebastian, because he's already gotten himself to a better point, not as good as the point that his woman expects of him, he just wonders where it all went wrong. Notice how this is a very often common theme in this type of thing. Explaining how to love a woman, how to plan dates, how to stay on your purpose while you're with her, how to be devious, and how to make her feel loved is beyond the scope of this video. Totally, completely beyond, because I would have to make about 12 of these, because this was only the introduction to the full romance guide that I told you I was making, that I went through, that I ended up getting with my girl. So it's beyond the scope of this video. I'll probably make more videos about it, so subscribe and stuff like that. So let's just recap real quick to make sure that you got everything. And good job for staying with me, because at the time I'm recording this, my camera, I've had to restart it just once. So this is I restarted it 5 minutes ago, but it was at an hour and 50 minutes or something. My throat hurt at 10 minutes because I recorded another YouTube video before this. Oh crap. So let's just recap. Number 1, become the best man that a feminine woman could ever ask for. Adopt the abundance mindset, set goals and focus on your gifts to humanity. There is never a shortage of feminine energy. Dissolve your trauma, choose a woman who chooses you. Feminine energy has temperatures, don't be friends. Don't be ashamed of your masculine energy. Masculinity is stillness and progression, while femininity is the flow of emotion, especially love. Focus on polarity and make sure that you have a priority in your relationship. There's probably a lot more. I know that there was a lot more that I was not able to like scavenge and figure out for the recap points for your final action steps, because while I can't give you a bunch of videos right now and I can't just tell you all the things to do once you actually are with this girl that is so wonderful for you, the basic principles is be stillness and be love, and like a superior man, focus on your gift to humanity. Do your action steps there in the description in full order, and literally just tell her you're into her when you end up like thinking that you're into her. For me, actually, I realized that I was into her like what, 3 or 4 days before I actually told her, and that's because no, not even 3 or 4 days. It was the weekend, so it was Friday, and then I had like 2 more days to figure out that I was into her or something like that. And the reason I hesitated for a little bit is because I did not try to be friends with her before. It just ended up happening, and she was just like a feminine girl, I was a masculine guy, and it just ended up just kind of happening. So that's it usually just kind of happens, and that's why I say don't try to make it happen. Again, that is a feminine desire, so just don't try to make it happen. Remember, you have the abundance and it will come to you. Literally just tell her you're into her, and watch this video if you need extra help to do that. It's the most popular video on my YouTube channel. It has 18,000 views, and yeah, dude, my throat really hurts. I'm gonna go to the gym now. Good night, bro. Or will he continue his mindless scroll for entertainment with the ghost of his full potential screaming at him in the face to focus?